robbery. Hands in the sky if you got a dream. Learn nothing was blocking me. I was the problem, the only one stopping me. I didn't like it, I had to refocus. Now I'm devoted, I know where I'm going. Controlling emotions, I'm owning the moment. In order to get it, see, you gotta want it. Flow make a living break. Confessions over these 808s. Don't sleep on the key, better stay away. I mean, for heaven's sake, I'ma be the best. Came from the endless lane, roll games, bitch with the chest. Beating on my chest, trying to get my rest. Watch me while I flex. Every win is a blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only redirection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Quitting was never an option.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Split Second Broadcasting, where we bring you another edition of the Online Speedway Racing League. Tonight we have the Tim Stoltz Grand Prix of Sebring. I'm Evan Snyder, joined alongside me, Elliot Henderson, Ross Brockman, and our pit reporter, Aiden DuPont. We bring you another exciting iteration of the OSRL. Last week, we did see them go around Kearns Raceway, where we did see the winner of Joe Armstrong bring it home in that race, and he's looking to do it here again. Before we get into things, we'll get into the race here tonight and kind of our thoughts about it going into it, of course, with Joe Armstrong, and of course you have the reigning champion Joshua Chin back in the mix. It should be a very exciting one, to say the least, here, boys.
Yeah, for sure. And Josh obviously on pole. Nate Stewart right there with him, making his first start, I believe, of the season. In third place in points, William Schmidt looking to continue his kind of good fortune lately. With Cole Freilich and now Kendall Carpenter, both outside the top 5 qualifying here. Could be a good point swing for Schmidt tonight. We talked about Armstrong, unfortunately not here. He did mention he's in a partial role this season, not running tonight as far as we can see. And we've got 30 guys all on the grid for tonight, it looks like. So we'll go through that in a second. But Josh Chin on pole, Nate Stewart right up there with William around out your top 3.
And it should be a very exciting one. The very first road course that is on the calendar for the OSRL and all these drivers here this evening. So again, you always have that to factor into it as well. Using a slightly different car, normally run the Gen 4s, but today we're running the ARCA cars for their better setup for road course racing. We're going to talk a little bit more about pit strategy here, about what's going to go into this 30 laps of racing around Sebring. And I just want to hear, Ross, your thoughts about kind of some strategy going into this, and Aiden also too, your thoughts after that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun tonight to see just how tires go. I think this is it's an old racetrack, this known for sports cars, but we'll see how the stock cars slide around here. I think it should be super fun to see how they handle. Yeah, I think that at some point you're going to want to get tires, of course. I think it's a one-stop race. I think that's going to be the main strategy. It's just a matter of when you want to do that stop. So looking forward to seeing the high-paced straightaways of this racetrack, and then the very technical corners. A good mix for a road course, and yeah, really excited to see how it goes.
Same feelings over here. Very excited to see this one play out. It's going to be tough to wheel these ARCA cars around these right and left turns. I hear fuel run can go to about 17 laps or so, and I believe it's a 30-lap race, so we'll see how much play people have in their fuel strategy to get to the end.
I guess we have to wait and see, because of course on these road courses and these longer circuits, fuel does play a big factor into kind of your strategy, and obviously making sure you're not going to run out of fuel there at the end. The other key point to mention here is you kind of see it on our screen as the drivers start to grid up. We actually do have a standing start, so very different from what we normally see with stock car racing, but here tonight they are doing a standing start. Elliot, I want to get your thoughts on how we're starting this race off.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. These cars have a lot of wheel spin, and we might honestly see it take off here very shortly. But it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. It shouldn't be too bad. They're all spaced out pretty nicely, but there will be a lot of wheel spin for the guys just trying to get up to speed, and we might see someone accidentally spin or potentially miss a shift and get run over. But it looks like we're going to run time on the starter here and get ready to see a green flag.
Unfortunately, not enough time to get our starting grid, but off they go. Josh Chin gets a kind of a late start there. Nate Stewart gets a good drive off here into one. So your car is about 3 or 4 wide as well. Really close there between Josh Chin, I believe the 79 as well. So dive through and going through turn number 2 now. With Nate Stewart out early to a lead. Josh Chin right behind him. It's close action packed. That's the other thing about Sebring. Very narrow circuit. So we might see some spins here off the start. All these cars getting clumped up together as the 70 gets a little loose there. Firing through underneath the bridge.
And Josh Chin's going to lead him down here ahead of Nate Stewart and others. Nate Stewart's actually the leader. Josh Chin came out of there in third. Philip Kraus is actually attacking Nate Stewart as they go off towards, I believe it's turn 10. Very treacherous corner here, basically a 90-degree turn as they're going to go a little bit up through what we call a bit of an S section here with turn 11, followed by turn 12, and then a hard turn 13 onto a bit of a straightaway down towards the next section where Ross will pick us up.
And this is a section that is a little bit light on the brake, kind of trying to keep your momentum through these left and rights here. This little kink right here, you're going to see the drivers. The car gets very light, and you're going to try to set yourself up for these slower 14, 15, and 16. And the exit of 16 here is the most important part of this track. So you get that long straightaway, your chance to potentially make a pass. We see a side-by-side battle coming out of 16. But as they weave through here, yeah, this is the place. No track limits, but if you venture too far off, you may get a slowdown penalty. So it will be interesting to see how much they make that move all the way down this backstretch and into the final corner where that's gonna be our action spot tonight. Awesome first lap so far.
As they come through the sunset turn back onto the front straightaway, it's gonna be, I believe that is Nate Stewart. Let's see, yeah, Nate Stewart will lead lap number 1 here of Sebring. Lap number 2 with the 19 of Philip Kraus right behind him. Josh Chin had a bit of a rough start there, I did notice. Starting on pole, he was our pole sitter for the start of this race. Did not have that good of a drive off, kind of messed up the restart a little bit. So he's going to look back to gain some of that ground. Kendall Carpenter also up a little bit, currently sitting in 6th after starting 9th. So he had a really good start. And you see a lot of these guys that started a little bit higher up on the grid, kind of had bad starts. Now you're kind of seeing the repercussions of that.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, too, is William Schmidt actually lost a bunch of spots out of that. Remember, he started up here in 3rd. He's dropped all the way back to 7th behind now Cole Freilich and Kendall Carpenter, 2 drivers he's racing against in the point standings right now. As Philip Kraus gets a little bit loose under attack by Josh Chin now as Nate Stewart looks to check out. Back down turn 10 again, Nate Stewart. Really solid lead, solid line through as he's got Philip Kraus, Josh Chin, Jeremy Cook, someone we haven't talked about, making complete his first start of the season, up into 4th now after starting 5th.
And hate to cut you off there earlier, but we did see some contact between the 33, I believe, Isaac Johnson, and I believe the 70 of Harry Grandel kind of got into it a couple turns prior behind our leaders. Let's see if we can try to get a replay of it here momentarily. Interested to see what happened between the 33 and the cars that he got caught up with.
Back over on the straightaway here, it looks like Joshua Chin is all over Nate Stewart, but yeah, we're going to take a look at a replay here in a second. Down that long straightaway, pretty much keeping somewhat single file for now. And, entering the final corner here, Stewart just trying to keep Joshua Chin at bay as yeah, it's been a very I guess that's Philip Kraus in 2nd there, coming back to the line.
Unfortunately, not able to get a replay to see what happened. I do know is Isaac Johnson, the 33 that got caught up in it. He'll drop all the way down, I believe, into 11th. He actually had a pretty good start in himself. Sorry, actually, he drops way farther than that, down to the 16th. Did Isaac Johnson. He keeps on falling down through the scoreboard here. But Nate Stewart, back out in front, has still under pressure between Philip Kraus, and of course Kraus has to deal with the ever so dangerous Josh Chin right behind him. And also, too, Jeremy Cook also right behind him as well in that 08 machine, looking to get into some of the action as well. We talked about a lot about at Kern, Cole Freilich currently in the 5th position as well.
Yeah, Freilich's starting to make up some ground here, too. We're going to see how these cars really respond as the run goes on. Obviously, only on lap 3 of a 30-lap race, so a lot of time for the rear tires to really degrade and wear out as these guys try to power off the corners really hard. Go back in this really tight section around turn 13. Nate is just barely holding on there over Kraus. Kraus really starting to put pressure on him as each turn comes up. One thing to note, Jackson Sims also lost a few spots on top of William Schmidt's loss. Both of them down 4 spots from 3rd to 7th for Schmidt and 6th to 10th for Sims. So a lot of comers and goers here early on in this one.
And the top drivers here just kind of maybe saving their stuff a little bit. I think, obviously you want to make it through all the action as we look at Jackson Sims here through the just following Vargas through these last couple corners before that long straightaway. If you have an opportunity through here, if you can get through this corner, you can really make up ground on the driver in front of you and potentially make a pass. We see some of these drivers ducking out down this long straightaway. Used to be a landing strip for airplanes. It's awesome to see them fly all the way down into this final corner.
Coming to start lap number 4, Stewart still out in front. And I like the point that you did mention, Ross, about how, these drivers maybe saving their stuff a little bit because, of course, it takes about 2 minutes to get around this racetrack here in Sebring. So a very long time. Don't want to push too hard too early. Of course, tire wear comes into a factor, but, of course, fuel saving, you want to make sure you hit that around 17 lap mark. That's about I think that's the sweet spot for most of these drivers. Or if you save some stuff, maybe possibly even extend it maybe into 18, 19 laps. We'll have to see when that goes down. But we'll see 3 wide here going to turn 1. That is the 23 of John Malashak going up against Justin Knut and also Harry Grandel in the mix right in front of him.
There's a fight going on back here, all for that 4th spot. Jeremy Cook.
Oh, they're still bumping each other. Sorry to cut you off there early, but the 33, I believe that is Isaac Johnson once again goes around. See, he cuts up and stacks up this entire back of the pack. A lot of cars involved there. Nice little traffic jam, so to say.
Yeah, I was busy watching the front. We had Jeremy Cook kind of go off. Cole Freilich pressured him into I believe it was turn 5, and Jeremy Cook missed it. Went off into the grass. Freilich took the spot. Kendall Carpenter got by. So Cook's down 2 spots with Schmidt and others all over him as they go off into turn 15.
And Freilich had talked about this season, trying to keep Kendall Carpenter at bay after winning those first 2 races. And interested to see him, both of those guys right back to each other, sitting there in 4th and 5th. But our leaders kind of getting away from those 2, trying to, make a little bit of a gap to try to maybe get away. It looks like, it's been a pretty calm start here. It looks like Carpenter gets a little loose off the corner that sometimes can set up another driver behind you, but not close enough to make anything happen as they enter turn 17 here.
And I think, too, what you and also what Elliot said, Ross, is I think a lot of times, if you are a guy that's just tucked in behind and somebody in front of you, you can just keep about half a car length, maybe a car length gap between you and the car in front of you and wait for a mistake, especially this early in the race and also as we get later into a run. As I personally think as these tires wear down, these cars are going to get very, very loose on these drivers, and that could obviously, if you're sitting around, as the 19 tries to dive in on the inside of Nate Stewart. That's Philip Kraus in that 19 machine. Of course, Josh Chin kind of getting into that conversation a little bit now.
Yeah, battle for the lead is on here, all between the top 3. Josh Chin, both him and Philip Kraus going to go around Nathan Stewart here. Kraus to the point, Chin in 2nd. Meanwhile, back towards about 4th or 5th, they're still battling. I believe it's Ryan Andrew and William Schmidt side by side going into turn 10. That's for about the 6th spot. While Jeremy Cook is also under attack. He might be making the pass on Schmidt or Kendall Carpenter. Sorry, they're all over each other back here. Carpenter's swapped around, been from 5th to 8th and so forth. So a lot of fighting going on between his top 10.
Yeah, when a driver in front of you makes a mistake, it's so tempting to then battle them through these left and rights, and it can even slow you down and get other drivers, closing in on you. So it's super interesting to see as they run through all these corners. It looks like for now the 88 of Ryan Andrew is able to clear Schmidt here and kind of maybe not set sail, but at least pull away from him a little bit to calm the chaos, I guess. This left-right through here, the last couple corners. See a battle back here. Yeah, this long straightaway here, I think you get to a point where later in the race, you don't know where your tires and brakes are, and this last corner, turn 17, is very wide and very bumpy. So you'll see the cars kind of bounce through these corners, and it's really easy to go wide. We saw a couple cars on that last lap go wide in that final corner, and it only gets worse as the farther you go off.
Oh, we just had
that
one.
Corner. There we go, just like that.
William
yeah,
Schmidt actually just caught the wall. Yep.
I mean, I think what I said is coming to fruition, where these cars are just going to get looser and looser as the run came on. You even touched about it there a little bit, Ross. I think we actually see a car go down pit lane. I think that's the 70.
It's the 08 of Jeremy Cook.
That was the 08, so we'll touch with Aiden DuPont here in a second about that after this replay, but completely missed the turn to the 79. Probably got blocked off a little bit there from the 88. So very unfortunate there for William Schmidt, who also was our runner-up last week at Kern Raceway, and now has some significant damage to the front of that car. We'll throw it down to Aiden DuPont, what he has over the driver chat, and also about who just came down pit road.
I'm not hearing much over the driver chat, but yeah, Jeremy Cook, the 70 car, came down pit road, got 4 tires, and he's just parked it. I'm not sure what's going on, if it's he's just done for the night, or if he's just taking a break, but that car is not moving.
Thank you very much, Aiden. I did notice earlier in the race, I believe Cook got some little bit of damage, so that could also play a factor into that. Got caught up with the 33 of Isaac Johnson, I believe, earlier in the race.
He's been fighting all day. The 20 car of Kendall Carpenter, the 79 car of William Schmidt. Oh, and he is starting to move off a pit road. So he rolls past the pace car and is now getting back up to speed.
Take a look here. That is the 70 of Harry Grendel, actually. That's who I believe got caught up a little bit earlier in some incidents. But thank you very much, though, Aiden, as he'll give all of our insight on pit road throughout this entirety of the race. But Philip Kraus out in front here for lap number 6 with Josh Chin right behind him. Nate Stewart has fallen off from them just a little bit. Stewart kind of is almost a second and a half back of Kraus. About 5 car lengths behind Josh Chin as they come to lap number 7. And like I was saying a little bit earlier, before all the action popped off, and we've even been already touching on it, these cars can get looser and looser as the run goes on, and if you are kind of chasing down a car in front of you, you just have to wait for a mistake, because mistakes definitely will happen. So take a look here. Jackson Sims there in that 45 machine, trying to run down Ryan Vargas in front of him for 8th position. Jackson Sims been chipping away these past couple laps or so. It's just behind Vargas coming out of turn 1.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on William Schmidt after that contact with the wall and see how bad that's going to affect him. He was sitting right behind Freilich ahead of Kendall Carpenter in a really prime spot to make do with that 3rd place points position that he's in. Potentially gain something out of tonight, but unfortunately a wall contact's confirmed as they come through to the 3rd more time. I believe right now with Jeremy Cook's situation, he's not too far off, but I just wonder if there was some damage or something there that he wanted to fix, but he was running up inside the top 5 to now come out and be much last.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the idea of coming down to, maybe fix damage, more damage there than we thought, but battle for the lead is heating up a little bit. Another battle up here in the top 10 with Freilich and Andrew. It's a right-hander here. You can kind of run a little wide here sometimes when you come off into the dirt, but stay in the gas, because this portion here, you want to have your, be high speed, try to get through here, through these kinks to enter turn 14, 15, and 16 real smooth. Car's super light through here. Andrew trying to get to the back bumper of Freilich. This is your chance through this turn 16 right-hander. If you can get a run sliding through that corner, you'll even get a little bit of a draft here. And looks like Andrew's going to pull out, try to pass to the right of Freilich. You could try to outbrake going to this last corner, but again, it's very rough and it's very easy to miss the corner. And we saw that earlier in this, and you can kind of swing there and try to get in the inside of Freilich as he hits back down to the front stretch.
Yeah, and we did see the 88 of Ryan Andrew kind of get involved with William Schmidt coming out of the sunset turn, as I don't know if he intentionally meant to throw a block. We saw the replay. I don't know if he intentionally to throw a block there on Schmidt or kind of just ran the exit of the turn kind of wide. But he is trying to track down the 15 machine of Cole Freilich. And then right behind him, Kendall Carpenter waiting in the rings, but he is under attack of actually William Schmidt that we've been talking about. But the beauty is, though, if you are Kendall Carpenter, even though you are under attack from Schmidt, you do have that kind of keeping in factor with the two cars fighting in front of you, as we see Ryan Vargas go off the racetrack going up against the number 45 of Jackson Sims, as he's finally able to make the pass around Vargas.
This battle's been a ton of fun. Sims has been working Vargas over for a while, and they've just kind of gone back and forth there, but unfortunately no real doing until just now. Sims actually able to make the pass. Vargas kind of sends a little deep there, couldn't get back to his bumper, and he's going to have to watch the 25 drive away a little bit, have to set him up for another time. Quick note, Jack Painter started 13th tonight. He finished really well last week. Currently running right in 10th, trying to make his way up the field, and Gabe Wood, big time mover from 17th up to 11th, putting pressure on Jack Painter as he overshoots the corner there actually, and he's going to lose a couple spots out of that one unfortunately, but trying to make his way into the top 10 as well.
And Caden Reif there with him, another driver that's moved up a handful of positions since the start. Side by side here, the 04 Gabe Wood. Gabe's going to give him the position there, try to get back on track here. All battling just on the edge of the top 10 here through these back-to-back kinks. We still have Andrews trying to make something happen with Freilich, and it's so tempting when you have a run here or even a bit of draft to try to outbrake somebody, but it's such a tight corner, or it's a wider corner, but it's just so tight to sneak through there. You can kind of maybe get a run to try to set them up on this front stretch as they head that way.
I do know one thing, Cole Freilich, looking to bounce back from last week at Kern Raceway, did not have the most ideal race. We did talk to him before that race started, and he was very excited for Kern Raceway, as he considers himself a short track specialist, but he's getting it done so far here at Sebring. Started 7th, currently up to fourth place, for Freilich, so he's looking to bounce back a little bit, but we keep on talking about that constant pressure that Ryan Andrews is putting on him. But if you are the man in the 20 machine, Kendall Carpenter, this is your chance to get back up to the bumper of Ryan Andrew with him battling Freilich so hard, but he's not really been able to make anything stick, as he's losing a lot of time to them, while also being, as you can see him in the background, being an attack of William Schmidt.
Yeah, Kendall was running through his tires pretty bad earlier. I'm surprised they're honestly holding up, and I think that's just something he's going to have to keep an eye on for the rest of this run. Remember, we are pretty close to pit stops here. About lap 15, 16, we assume guys will start hitting pit road. They can go about 7 on fuel as far as we know. So good 5 laps away, 3/4 of the way, or 2/3 of the way through this run now. Start to see kind of where tires land and see how these guys are working.
We saw Kendall Carpenter sliding through these corners. Our lead duo have kind of pulled away here. You got a couple different groups. You know, you have your lead duo, and then you have the third place car of Stewart kind of by himself, and then Freilich and Andrew have been battling, and Carpenter and Schmidt who have been battling for that 6th and 7th spot. So it kind of a couple different duos battling it out here, and it's been impressive to see Schmidt as he looks to the right of Carpenter here with that front end damage. You know, I would have assumed race done when he hit that outside wall in turn 17, but able to still run up here in the top 10. It's been impressive to see. Maybe that little fender damage opening up that tire is keeping that left front cool. I don't know. It's pretty impressive.
Well, the thing that I'm surprised by is the fact that, you know, he did go nose in onto the wall. So you think maybe some engine damage possibly, and the engine possibility of overheating as well. That could. I'm surprised that's not playing a factor. Maybe it is, and somehow Schmidt is doing a really good job of controlling it with trying to chase down the 20 car of Kendall Carpenter. The other thing you mentioned, Ross, is you kind of have your lead duos and lead packs. I mean, you kind of get that with road course racing, where a lot of the faster drivers will absolutely just pull away from each other, and you just have these big gaps. You either have 2 or 3 people fighting, you have one person by themselves, you have another 2 or 3 people fighting, kind of like how we're seeing so far in this race, at the 10 laps into here at Sebring.
It's interesting. I'm looking at lap times, and Kraus and Chin are basically the only ones in the 09s, except for Jeremy Cook. I know he probably can't do anything with fuel here, but he's the only other one running 209. So it'll be interesting how this sorts out for the time being after the pit stops, where he lands, and if he'll be able to make any ground off that.
Yeah, and I think some of these drivers are going to probably do a very similar thing that maybe Cook is trying, but closer to that halfway mark, so you don't have to worry about saving fuel or anything like that. By coming down and getting tires to whether it's overcut or undercut here, to being that we're at a road course that's going to be very prevalent here, I think, as the 98 here of Hayden Reif making it through the couple corners before this fast-paced section following Gabe Wood. These guys, both of them have moved up about 4 positions from where they started, just smoking the tires entering these corners. It's just, and there goes Wood off the track. So yeah, you can very easily get a little light through here and lose control of the car and basically have to skip a corner, and that will come with a slowdown, and you'll have to slow down a little bit to avoid getting the black flag. But Caden Reif's going to gain a position on Wood after that mishap through those left and rights.
Yeah, fortunately for Gabe Wood, as Kern last week was kind of fighting for the top 5 the entire time, and I believe he got caught up in an incident, and that kind of hindered his finishes. Gabe Wood will pull into the pits, so we see a early pit stop from Wood. But all 3 of those cars, like we were mentioning, Gabe Wood, so Caden Reif, and Brandon Lindauer in the 43, they all kind of are all on their bumpers for a little bit, and they had some gaps open up between them. We see Gabe Wood enter into the pits. Aiden DuPont will throw it down to Aiden DuPont to see what he has about Gabe Wood's pit stop and anything over the driver chat.
He is currently the only one on pit road, and he pulls off right now. I got no other takers. I don't expect them for another lap or 2. Oh, and of course, just as I say that, who is that pulling in? I think, did somebody just reset? That is
the 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald right there.
Yeah, he pulled to the end of pit road, reset, and manually disconnected.
So interesting to see what happened to Gavin Fitzgerald there. I doubt that we'll be able to get a replay on it. Didn't think he had any damage, or didn't seem like he got caught up in any incidences. We're kind of running towards the back of the pack, as he qualified 27th, and he'll finish this race, I believe, in 29th. So a very unfortunate evening for Gavin Fitzgerald. If you're familiar here with Split Second Broadcast, also runs the GLR, Truck Series on Tuesday nights.
In the early laps of the race, I saw him struggle on exit, get into the wall in the final corner. I think he just fell to the back and struggled to recover.
Very interesting. Might have to talk to him after the race and see what's going on, because I know he was practicing pretty heavily for this race. So fortunate for Gavin Fitzgerald with his night being done early. But we'll throw it here to Philip Kraus, still out in front here. Lap number 12 underway. He's starting to slip and slide everywhere. As, of course, we've been talking about the tire wear probably starting to play a factor here, as Josh Chin kind of just maintaining that gap between him and Kraus. It's probably kind of playing the long game here a little bit between the 93 and that 19 car.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of little duo battles like we were talking about earlier. Obviously, the battle for the lead, Kraus and Chin. Stewart's on his own little island, about 7.5 seconds from anybody. Freilich and Andrew still battling hard for that 4th spot. And Kendall Carpenter, Schmidt actually goes off track right there, running in 7th. He's been attacking Carpenter every single lap. and has just been trying to get into the corners harder and harder. It finally bit him there. There was a point where he went through Sunset and went around the outside of Carpenter, got him nearly cleared into one, but couldn't actually get the job done, as now he watches Carpenter completely disappear and falls towards Jackson Sims, who still hasn't really shook Ryan Vargas quite yet, all for that 7th, 8th, 9th spots.
And you see these drivers, as the tires wear, they use more and more track and throw up a little dirt and clip the grass. And if you do too much of that, you might go off, as we saw Schmidt do here. Sims is all over Schmidt, who's trying to just kind of probably gather it back up from a few corners ago. It's part of the track where you kind of almost have to follow a little bit, but hoping that through these last couple corners you can maybe get that run down that long straightaway. This right-hander there is another opportunity to go off track. We've seen a couple drivers hang a tire off that curbing you have on the left side there. This fast-paced kink. Sims is trying to close up. Just want to be as close as you can entering turn 16 to then try to just keep your momentum up to have a run. Doesn't look like Sims is going to have an opportunity, but Schmidt did get a little loose off that last corner. He may have a little bit of a run down this long back straightaway before they hit that final corner down here in turn 17. We'll see if Schmidt will be able to hold on to that car. It's been a tough go for him the last lap.
As well, big snap there by Schmidt as he gathers it all back up, but again, it just snaps once again. This is going to open the door wide open for Jackson Sim as he drops down the outside of Schmidt, pulling away from him on the straightaway. So the patience and the pressure from Jackson Sims pays off as he easily coasts by William Schmidt for that 6th spot. Schmidt trying to have an answer for him, but nothing doing. And if Schmidt's not careful, Ryan Vargas waiting in the wings could also pick him off as well. But still keeping it nice and close here. Schmidt all up on the back bumper of Sims now, going through this little kinks here.
Yeah, I think if I'm Schmidt, I'm trying to calm down and just kind of salvage what I've got. Obviously came in here with a really strong opportunity. We started 3rd tonight. Looked like he was going to be able to battle for the win and everything. All just kind of went away from him and then made contact with the wall at that one point, following the 88 through there. And now he's just kind of in damage control. And I think at this point, you just got to manage those tires, get to this pit stop in a couple laps, and take it for what it is. Honestly, try to run this one long since these tires are already shot. Go the extra lap, suck it up, and then have fresher tires for the rest of the race. We'll have to see how he combats all this. He's got a pretty big gap after Vargas before it gets back to John Daniels, about 4 or 5 seconds there. So worst case, he falls right around to 9th, 10th, and come back from that. But the battle for the lead and the battle for 3rd or 4th are still going very, very strong.
Yeah, and I think this is we're closing in, as you mentioned there, Elliot. The pit stop is only a few laps away, or at least the window opening is a lap or two away here. So this is an opportunity with these drivers that are in these duos of battles with Freilich and Andrew. We're looking at here down this long straightaway. That might be your play if you can't get an opportunity. These guys are really good. You're waiting for somebody to make a mistake. Maybe you can't. You'll never get that mistake. You need to do something different by jumping to pit road. Nobody's going to do it this time for our front runners. But yeah, Freilich and Andrew still glued together down the front stretch.
I think a lot of these guys, I think they're going to pretty much run, or front runners that is, they're going to try to run this tank absolutely dry because, of course, on road courses, pit positioning or track positioning is everything, and you want to try to cut off any possibilities of any under or overcuts, as we kind of saw Jeremy Cook try to do one, but I don't think it's really working out too well for him. But we'll see the 25 and the 22 battling here. That's Kyle Benson in the 25 and then Justin Canuckson in that 22 machine. They've also been kind of going back and forth and been all over each other's bumpers these past couple laps. As Canuckson, there was probably about a 5-car gap between him and Benson in front of him, but he was able to close it in, and he's all over the bumper. We'll see another car come down pit road, Aiden.
Looks like the 52, that is Nolan Sanford. He is our second taker. It's lap 14. He's going to get 4 fresh tires and head on out there. I heard no other indication that anybody's planning on coming in soon, but I'm going to keep my eye out because I expect plenty of people to start rolling down pit lane.
Thank you very much, Aiden. Yeah, I think, we're on lap 14. We did say the pit window is lap 17. So a lot of these guys probably thinking about, sooner or later, wanting to try to get some fuel and 4 fresh tires, because I bet these guys are absolutely struggling out there right now on these older tires.
And down this long backstretch, I think that, yeah, I don't know, Chin kind of was able to close the gap a lap or two ago and was less than a car length behind Kraus through a couple of the corners early in the lap, and then he kind of got back away. I thought maybe he was going to try to pull off a pass before the pit stop. If you want to try to do that and maybe and make that move before the pit stop if you can. Otherwise, maybe he's just waiting now to get that part of this race out of the way.
And a beautiful battle here between Kraus and Chin. He's passed about 12, 13 laps or so. But it's really going to be interesting if Chin is going to try to push it here a little bit with the winding laps of this first fuel run coming to an end to try to get around Kraus, or if he's just going to try to just hang around behind him as long as he can and keep this gap as close as it is now, where it's just underneath just over 3 seconds between him and Kraus in front of him.
Yeah, Jeremy Cook is unfortunately disconnected. I'm not sure if he just realized that he wasn't going to be able to do it on fuel, and I don't know. I'd like to get a word and understand what was going on there, because he was a top 5 driver. Fortunate to see tonight end as it did, but we've still got a lot of battling going on. Schmidt is not giving up on Sims. He hasn't lost a lot of ground, and he is still right there. You gotta love the tenacity, and that's why he's third in points right now, trying to keep up what he's doing all night.
And we did finally see the 88 of Ryan Andrew get around Cole Freilich. We also see a car went down pit lane. I believe that was the 25 of...
Yes, sir. That's Kyle Benson, the 25 car, just rolling off a pit lane right now. The 16 of Ruby Estes comes on the radio, says that they're on the way down pit lane as well.
Like I mentioned, though, the 88 of Ryan Andrew, battling back and forth with Cole Freilich, was able to get the pass done with the winding laps of this first fuel run coming to an end. And we will see the 13 of Levi Wolf, so trying to battle with the number 4 of Jeff Yinich in front of him.
And I think Yinich just got by Wolf there, and Wolf is falling back away from that 4 of Jeff Yenish. Yeah, some of these drivers, maybe you're able to save your tires more than the drivers you're racing around, and as you get to the end of this tire run and you can finally capitalize, like we said, it is tough to pass. It's a tough place to wait for somebody to make a mistake, as yeah, it looks like Jackson Sims is going to hit pit road and Schmidt is still out there.
We see Kendall 2 cars diving the pit road here.
Yeah, Kendall Carpenter as well coming down pit road. Who is that right down the end as well? Jackson Sims, and I believe, is that Vargas as well coming in? Jack Painter coming in as well. So many guys coming down pit lane right now. Lap 16. Looks like everybody's gonna start a parade. Back up to you guys.
We see Harry Grandel also right behind him. And the 22, Justin Canuckson, also falling down pit road. Griffin Jones as well. And I believe Isaac Johnson also coming down pit road as well in the 33 machine. So a lot of takers here as we see Jackson Sims exit pit road. I'm interested to see if he got around. No, he wasn't able to get around Cole Freilich. So Cole Freilich able to get out in front of him. So a bunch of takers. Like we mentioned, that 16 to 17 lap window is going to be that ideal spot for these guys with this pit cycle.
Yeah, the other question is going to be what any of these guys have with damage. I already saw Harry Grandel mention that he has 2 minutes of optional damage. Not sure any of these guys are going to end up taking any of it, but it's just something to note as they all start pitting. Look for Chin or Kraus to potentially hit pit road this time on laps.
It'll be interesting to see as they enter in this last corner here. You kind of have to stick to the right and slow down a little bit more to hit pit road here. And if your neighbor doesn't know that you're pitting, it can be a little bit of abrupt entry, as they're going to barely miss the cone Joshua Chin's going to try to jump Kraus by pitting a lap early. We'll see if it works.
Bit of a sketchy pit entrance. I was going to say, yeah, hopefully it doesn't lose too much time to the leader.
Yeah, very interesting strategy there from Philip Kraus to stay out. I wonder if Josh Chin was also kind of playing the factor of whatever Kraus does, he's going to do the opposite of. So I wonder if that had something to do with it, or if Chin was just pitting no matter what, which I think that is honestly the better idea, because Chin now, I think when he comes out of the pits, that will most likely put him up at provisional first place, if I'm not mistaken. I know he does have some cars in front of him that also pit a lap previously. So we'll see actually how things will shake out.
Yeah, basically the rest of the top 5 all came down. Stewart, Andrew, Freilich all followed. Schmidt stayed out. He might be listening to me, I guess, trying to run these tires long, considering he wasted them about halfway through that run and has the damage. So he's going to see how long he can go on this run before he pits. Remember, we said 17 was lap. We're not sure if anyone can go to 18 or if it'd be worth it. But, you know, to have the fresh tires all the way through the last run might be a good option for him, as Kraus is working his way now all the way over here through turn.
Yeah, I think if you're Kraus, you have to pit now, otherwise you're going to be just way too far back from Chin. So I think that it's going to be very interesting to see these two drivers exit the corner or exit pit road and see where they end up. I think definitely Chin's going to have a fast exit lap here, out lap, and be able to jump. And now he's got Schmidt in front of him, so that is definitely going to maybe impede as he looks to try to get around Schmidt here to the right of him through that right-hander, and that might be enough of a slowdown where it could potentially hurt the idea of pitting the lap before, or maybe take away that advantage, as Kraus is going to hit pit road, and we'll see how fast he can get through this.
Much better entrance from Kraus into pit lane. We're going to see how it shakes out on the pit exit to see where Joshua Chin and Philip Kraus shake out.
I think Chin is just about, he's on the back straightaway going into the sunset turn. So it's going to be a very close call here for Philip Kraus, as Chin now just entering the final turn, about to come out onto the front stretch.
Kraus puts the hammer down. He's coming out of pit lane right here. Let's see where...
Chin is right there next to him. This is going to be a bit of a drag race here, I think, as Kraus gets into the wall a little bit coming out of the pits, and he will stay out in front of Josh Chin. So beautiful work there from Philip Kraus. I think that was honestly, he put a little extra oomph into that lap before while he was pitting, and that will put him just about a second up over Joshua Chin.
Yeah, it's kind of where Kraus has an advantage, because Chin's able to follow him and match his time, especially if Chin might think he's faster, or he may be faster. He can match his time while he's following him. But if Kraus had anything in the bank extra, and he was just kind of, trying to match Chin and just not, overwork his stuff, it's a good time for him to then put down a flying lap right before he comes down pit road, and then comes out on now fresher tires and can hopefully drive away from Chin. So maybe some mind games going on between the two. Maybe Chin was using all he could and couldn't get around Kraus, and Kraus was kind of holding back a little bit. Now we get to see how this all works out over the next 13 or so laps.
It looks like we talked about Chin and how he was able to or I guess not able to hit pit road perfectly. It was a second or so longer pit road total time for Chin over Kraus, and that might be the difference, as we see about a 1.5 second gap between them. We're back with the Gabe Wood and the 98 of Caden Reif. These two kind of been near each other all night, trying to stay on track and stay on the edge of that top 10. Both of them on some a couple lap different strategy, I guess, but trying to make their way into that top 10. That's always hard to break into it. And yeah, Gabe Wood was able to after that early. In that last run, it was Caden Reif goes off track a little bit, or at least misses the corner a little bit, was able to keep it on the concrete and is able to keep rolling here.
He got a little loose there, yeah, like you mentioned, Ross. They've been kind of going back and forth as they're kind of up positive in positions. Caden Reif started 18th And Gabe Wood started 17th, currently up to 13th for Wood, and 14th, I believe, for Caden Rife as well, trying to hunt down that 04 machine. And a lot of guys actually kind of reap the benefits of that different pitch strategies playing out. Some losses, though. William Schmidt, he was actually able to gain some spots back, currently sitting in 5th. Nate Stewart kind of right back where he started, right behind Josh Chin in the 3rd spot. But John Daniels able to crack into the top 5, is currently sitting 4th. He started 15th this afternoon. And then Ryan Andrews and Cole Freilich basically right back to where they were in 6th and 7th, still fighting out for that spot. A little bit of a gap between Freilich and Andrews, but they're looking to get back into things. And also Kendall Carpenter kind of staying right where he's at in that 8th spot with Jackson Sims and then William Schmidt right behind him for your top 10.
I'm a little confused with John Daniels and Bryden Lindauer right now. They're both showing 4th and 5th after starting 15th and 11th, and it doesn't look like they've pitted yet. They're on lap 19 now, coming to 20. You gotta wonder if maybe Cook was on a strategy that he could have made it on fuel if these guys are able to go nearly 20 laps, but we'll have to see if they end up coming in this time, but we didn't expect anybody to go past 17, let alone go all the way to 19.
I'm surprised those cars must be absolutely running on fumes. Not too sure how well you can save gas on this circuit because of, you have like Ross has been saying with some of the turns that he's been covering, you have a lot of really fast-paced turns, which of course throttle control and how much, backing up the corner you do will play a factor into that, but I'm still surprised to see John Daniels and Brian Lindauer out there if they haven't pitted yet.
I was thinking, we did have with the unique race course here for these stock cars here at Sebring, there was a rule update just for tonight to have a potential for cautions. It's something that typically on road courses and iRacing you don't have yellows, but there was a chance for a potential yellow if more than a couple cars were in an incident. So it was very rare, but if that yellow came out, maybe a different strategy, you'd kind of get a lottery ticket when you're able to jump some track position. But I think I would have wanted to flip it so that way if you did pit and you were still in the lead lap, you'd gain back some of those positions. But we thought that this was going to go green the whole way, and it has. So it kind of just doesn't take that long run strategy isn't really going to pay out too much because there's no big opportunity to get that yellow.
And we do see somebody dive onto pit road. Aiden, what do you got down there?
That's the 0-2 of John Daniels, guys. I believe he's one of the guys who went long. We'll have to see when the other guys on that strategy come down pit road.
Thank you very much, Aiden. The 43, Brandon Lindauer, just got passed by Ryan Andrews. The other one, I believe, that has not pitted so far, as he has Cole Freilich now very far back from him. But Brandon Lindauer, got to think you're also pitting within the next, probably the end of this lap. I mean, lap 20, we have about 10 laps to go here. The Grand Prix of Sebring. To wait and see kind of what he does. He gets a little loose behind Ryan Andrews, has a not so great corner exit there. He loses a lot of time to Andrew in front.
Yeah, Ryan Andrews completely distanced himself from Cole Freilich, who is actually starting to fall clutches of Kendall Carpenter. They're about 3 seconds off each other, so we might be able to see a little bit of a battle go on between the 20 and the 15 one more time this season. I don't know if you've seen enough of it already, but it's happened every season. Might as well transfer it into this week as well, as Sim's still trying to hold off Schmidt. Schmidt on that, alternate strategy came out, I believe, either right in front or right next to Vargas, and has dispatched him and driven away. Going to see if he can hold on to these tires for the run, potentially catch on the Sims.
And I think just a lap or two tires is a huge advantage because we can even see with our front runners who've been running almost identical lap times all night. Kraus with just 1 lap fresher tires has now extended the lead up to about 3 seconds, the largest lead I think of the night. So it looks like a battle here with the 33 of Isaac Johnson and the 3 of Hunter Waters. Some cars with a little bit of damage from tonight's festivities.
Oh, as they get into contact a little bit between the 3 and the 33. I mean, like I did mention, Isaac Johnson did get some damage early on in the race with the 70, I believe, of... Or who the 70 is, apologies, of Harry Grindell. Sorry about that, Harry. Got into contact with Harry Grindell early in the race and got a good amount of damage from that. Also got it collided with a bunch of other cars. So unfortunate there for Hunter Waters, as now Ruby S is also kind of thrown into the mix here with these 3 cars.
Yeah, and just to update, Bryden Lindauer has come down pit road. That is the final pit stop for all these drivers. So it'll be Philip Kraus, Josh Chin, Nate Stewart, Ryan, Andrew, Cole Freilich, Kendall Carpenter, Jackson Sims, William Schmidt, and Ryan Vargas. And Jack Painter rounds out your top 10. Lindauer takes it to pit road round.
Oh, huge lock up there from the 43.
Yep. He will come out around 14.
So I'll put him right behind the 02, once again, of John Daniels.
Lots of other radio chatter as well. I think Ryan Vargas got into a bit of a scuffle, dropped a position. Now he's battling with Jack Painter. Some words traded back and forth over the radios. Just a little light ribbon, nothing serious.
Well, maybe. Sorry, but it may have been between Schmidt and Vargas. Those were the last 2 that were near each other, and Schmidt obviously having the night he's having. I wouldn't quite blame him if he threw a bumper to someone on older tires or just trying to move forward and try to go catch Sims. He still has an opportunity to go get Sims for what would be the 7th out of Lindauer's pit.
Yeah, I didn't see what took place, but I heard the exchange afterwards. It looks like Schmidt's got about 4 seconds over Vargas at the moment.
And the thing that's interesting to me is seeing Schmidt still out here, as we saw them earlier in this race get absolutely almost sent into the barriers nose first. So I'm surprised even the 79 is out here running in William Schmidt. We're trying to find off Ryan Vargas. Those who don't know, races obviously in real life, and Jack Painter also trying to get into the mix with Vargas and Schmidt.
Through this final corner here, this is your opportunity to hope the other driver either misses the corner or misses their braking point, and it changes every lap. So that's an opportunity, as Painter's going to try to chase down Vargas here on lap 22.
Painter all trying to get to the back bumper of Ryan Vargas, who's also had some mishaps so far this race with keeping track position, currently sitting in 9th. Did start the race in 10th, so he is up a position, and Jack Painter found him in that 10th spot, trying to gain a couple extra points in his favor. But Philip Kraus still out in front, currently 4 seconds up on Josh Chin. So we're on lap 22. So I think Kraus is really starting to check out now. So I believe that is the 45. No, is that Jackson Sims they just slapped? I don't think it is. Very similar paint schemes to Jackson Sim, but I do not think that is him.
It's Gavin Newton in the 48, and he just went by. But we saw Caden Reif get a little bit loose there, and these guys really starting to suffer with tire wear, it seems like, already. And that's why I said for Schmidt to stay out long. He's really sliding off corners now, but it just kind of helps you. He is still gaining on Sims. Keep that updated. That's probably one of the closer battles that's going on besides Jack Painter and Ryan Vargas. But I've also got to be just enthralled with Jack Painter on a week-to-week basis. He just comes on so strong, so late in these races, and as soon as you think that he's just settled where he's running, he's on the attack of the guy in front of him. So I'll have to see if he can go get Vargas for this 9th spot.
I think the interesting part of this that we're going to have to see what happens. We saw the battle of the 23rd, 24th, and 25th place running cars. We have a couple of these groups that are either on a tire, a lap or 2 difference in tires that are battling. Kraus is going to get to the back of some of these drivers and have to lap them. So that's going to be the last test, I guess, for Kraus. Here's a couple that are Grindel, and then the 0-2 here that are sliding through John Daniels through that last corner, battling for what would be just outside of the top 10 in 11th place.
We saw there, Brandon Lindauer kind of got into the wall coming out of Sunset, and Caden Reif will dive in there going through turn 1 and actually reap the benefit of that mishap from Caden Reif. We see John Daniels. He was one of the cars that ran very, very long, along with Lindauer, who's a couple places behind him, as he's trying to get into the inside. The 70 of Harry Grindell has been all over that back bumper. They'll be side to side going through the turns here. Get a slight pull. Here's the O2 as they even back up going down the straightaway.
Yeah, this battle between Grindell and Daniels, basically just a tire battle at this point. Obviously, Grindell on older tires, Daniels on fresher tires. Can't really complete it, though. Still kind of struggling to get around and clear the 70 with Caden Wright right there behind him in the 98. And this battle tightening up here with Vargas and Painter. Vargas is missing corners and just sliding on exit. He's lost the rears completely, and Painter looks really stout as he gets through these corners nice and tidy, looking at trying to get Vargas on either entry or on exit. Vargas struggling with both at the moment.
Yeah, and the fastest car in this kind of group, and I guess they're a little bit farther back, is that 02 of John Daniels with the fresher tires. But yeah, Painter is trying to actually, Vargas was a little bit faster the previous lap, but I think Painter is just ultimately trying to figure out a spot where he can get around him, and this is your opportunity. You got to be a little closer than that where he's at, out of turn 16, to have a chance down this long straightaway. I think he'll have to utilize this next lap here, lap 24, to try to get closer, to maybe make a move the next time by through this final corner, turn 17.
But however, the laps are starting to wind down a little bit as they come to the line. About 5 laps to go here. Or they're closing in on 5 laps to go. It's going to be a tight race here if you are Jack Painter, because you don't want to wait around and stay behind Ryan Vargas. And also, too, for John Daniels, who is trying to fight all over the back of the 70 of Harry Grindell. Again, on those a lot fresher tires, and he might even have the possibility to catch Jack Painter, especially if Jack Painter is getting held up by the 26 of Ryan Vargas. And so it could reap out in his favor, and the O2 will get into the dirt a little bit, and that will kill his run on the 70 as they come through turns 3 and 4.
Well, remember Painter, kind of like Freilich, trying to bounce back from a 10th place finish at Kern after running pretty much top 5. Looked like he had a chance to potentially finish second. Had a really good run going. Made some contact late in the race. Ended up 10th in that one. So trying to get a bounce back after falling all the way back to 6th in points. But right now, can't really do much with Vargas as he's kind of tracking back towards that green, driving away from him. Talking about driving away from people, Kraus gone. 5 seconds out, but to Ross's point, that traffic is looming, and it's there going into turn 1. He's about 2 seconds behind a couple cars as he heads off into turn 1 to start lap 25.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the main issue for Kraus, and honestly, the golden ticket, if you are Chin, is to kind of get back in this. As we see a car go off the track, that is the number 3 going off the track of Hunter Waters finding Ruby Estes, as Ruby has been all over the number 3 of Waters this entire time, giving Waters even a little bit of a couple of shots here and there going through some turns. But hopefully, if your Kraus, that is not what you want to see go around some lap traffic, but they will allow him by. As Waters trying to get back around Estes, and we look back here between the O2 and the 70s, the O2 of Daniels fighting ever so to get around the 70 car of Grindell. Now they open the door for Caden Reif, who's been patiently waiting behind these 2 cars, waiting for his moment, as he's also been all over the bumper of the O2 of John Daniels.
Yeah, tough corner to go through side by side, but they make it work. And Caden Reif looking there trying to figure out, are you guys going to sort this out and let me get through here or what? But it'll be interesting to see how they get through turn 1.
Well, they're bumping a little bit going through 1. Action-packed racing here in the back of the pack. This will be for 11th. Terry Grindell is able to get back in front of John Daniels, but the 98 waiting there of Caden Reif trying to reap the benefits of these 2 scrapping in front of him.
Also got the 43 of Bryden Lindauer right there. These guys all fresher tires between the 02 and the 43, but neither of them can seem to really make anything of the 70 and the 98 quite yet. Both of them hanging really tough all right around that 11th, 14th position.
Yeah, you get to a point where you're hoping that somebody slides off. As our leader was sliding through that turn 17, still working through some lap traffic now. Joshua Chin's gonna have to sneak his way through the battle for 24th and 25th with Estes and Waters. Some tough lap cars you got to try to navigate, because we've seen even for position how hard it is to pass. Got to set them up in the right spots, because there are areas you can do it, and there are areas that are really, really tight with these massive stock cars.
We'll look back here at this amazing battle between the 02 and the 70. 70 Grindel is able to pull away a little bit. A huge slide there coming out of that turn for Grindel. See if Daniels is able to capitalize on that, able to get all over the back bumper of the 70 going down this back straightaway. And like you mentioned, Ross, if you're Kraus, those left cars fighting around you is definitely not what you want to see, as Chin is able to close up the gap a little bit. Just has it above 4 seconds, sitting at 4.2 seconds at the moment, as Daniels is able to send it in through Sunset. Made a little contact with Grindel, and I think this time the pass is going to stick. And it is going to. The 02 of Grindel able to drive off to P11, but Caden Rife now trying to get around Grindel. He's been sitting behind Daniels and watching this amazing battle between the 70 and the 02 this entire time, as they'll be side by side going into one. But Grindel able to hold him off. Huge slide as he gets in the dirt as the 70. 98 back inside. He's going to send it in deep, late on the brakes, but he's going to slide it off the racetrack. Huge mistake there from the 98 of Caden Rife. Sent it in a little bit too deep. Try to late break the corner and outbrake Grindel, but I think with some of these tires and how old they are, it's definitely not going to work out.
Yeah, we've seen that a few different guys do that in that corner specifically. I believe that was where it happened early on for, I think it was William Schmidt. Don't quote me on that, but someone else went off there and had some issues. And interesting to see it all pile back up. But this battle right here, Jack Painter and Brian Vargas, is not going anywhere. That's why we're going to flip back to it, because these two are on top of each other for this 9th spot. That battle for 11 is really exciting, but now that that's kind of died down, we've still got this Vargas-Painter battle all for 9th.
I think most of our battles throughout the field have been settled, but we're still waiting to find out Painter versus Vargas. I think this is going to be the fun one to see who is able to get it by lap 30. I think Vargas is holding on for dear life, and Painter's just waiting for that mistake. He's a little bit closer. We talked about this a few laps ago. You got to get a run here through turn 16 to get that long, take advantage of this really long straightaway. Vargas trying to even break the draft a little bit. And here they come down. You're gonna heavy braking into this turn 17. Try to close up a little bit more. We'll see if Painter can do it.
The biggest thing, if you are Jack Painter, is just keep that pressure on to Ryan Vargas, as they'll come down with 4 laps to go with this, or 3 laps to go with this race. I think that's one thing you just need to keep doing if you're Jack Painter, is keeping that pressure onto Ryan Vargas and force a mistake, because we've seen mistakes all throughout the field with all drivers, kind of no matter where they are in their placing. And that's the one thing that we've talked about earlier in the broadcast also, is the fact that if you are a car waiting behind someone, can't really make a pass, as we've talked about it all broadcast long, is how hard it is to pass. If you just put on pressure and not mess up, as Painter had a rough couple of corners there, you might be able to force a mistake with the car in front of you and potentially get around it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day as well, it's really impressive what Nate Stewart and Ryan Andrew have done tonight. We haven't talked about Andrew at all this season because he hasn't run a race yet, but for his opener to come in here and run 4th after starting 8th, one of the only guys to really move forward and show progress, aside from guys that started, back in the 20s and moved forward through all that traffic back there. But to see Andrew sit here in 4th and Nate Stewart run really comfortably in 3rd all day just shows the talent in the series. And seeing Philip Kraus put it to Josh Chin is something that we haven't really talked about at all either. But Chin has won pretty much every other road course as Painter right up on the back of Vargas again in the past season, and Kraus has just taken it to him tonight. So Chin's ego might be a little bit bruised tonight, but it's been interesting to see how it's played out.
Well, and also too, Josh Chin, the reigning champion. Sorry to cut you off, Ross, but the reigning champion as well. I don't believe he's running full time, but he's trying to defend his title the best he can.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it even before we were on the broadcast, that that Chin was going to be the favorite tonight, and Kraus kind of jumped the leaderboard at one point, and some of these guys were able to put down some laps that were similar to what Chin had put down. Yeah, Elliot, you mentioned Ryan Andrew in that 88. I wish he would have had a little bit better of a qualifying run, because I think that early on in the run, when everyone's on fresh tires, his lap times were very similar to Kraus and Chin. I just think that he had a little bit more traffic, as you mentioned. Had to move his way up through the top 10 a little bit, and by the time he did get up into that top 5, Kraus and Chin had kind of gotten away. So yeah, it would have been fun to see. It shows how important qualifying can be, because if you're having to dig out through a hole all night, then it's really tough to get back up there and try to even battle for a win. As Kraus is going to have to navigate these corners pretty much by himself. I don't think he's going to get, maybe there's a chance of lap traffic on the final lap here, but just got to bring this thing home.
Yeah, I think with Kraus too, he made that pit stop just nearly beating out Josh Chin, almost a drag race. And ever since then, he's absolutely checked out. Elliot already mentioned it before, but currently almost 4.5 seconds up on Josh Chin, and Chin is able to kind of close that gap up a little bit, but as soon as Kraus gets around lap traffic, he opens that gap right back up. And of course, 2 laps to go here. And I think, this is all pretty much, as long as Kraus doesn't do anything and the commentator's curse does not haunt him, he pretty much has this race under wraps, so to say. And the one thing I want to see, though, we've been talking about it all race long as the winding laps come to a close, is this Ryan Vargas-Jack Painter battle. As Painter still not being able to get around Ryan Vargas, but he's all over his back bumper, a couple car lengths back. Running short on time is Jack Painter, trying to move up into that 9th spot on Ryan Vargas.
Yeah, really everything else has sorted itself out. Everybody's about 4 seconds or more off of each other, except for a little bit of that battle still going on between 11th and 5th through 15th. They're 2 seconds off each other, but no one's close enough to really make any moves unless there's mistakes back there. But thought maybe we'd see Harry Grandel get back to John Daniels, give him the bumper or something, but hasn't been able to close the deal ever since they made some contact in 17. But yeah, to Ross's point, if Kraus just keeps it clean, I mean, Chin has been able to keep it between 4 and 5 seconds, but as Kraus kind of misses the corner a little bit there, but he can't really do much aside from that. He's closed it to 4, and then it opens back up to 4.5, and with a lap and a half left, there's only so much you can do to close that gap back down.
And there's a group of lap cars here. The 53 of Griffin Jones, Jeff Yenish in the 4. A handful of them that are battling for position just beyond the 19 here. So it's just something to look at. Again, I'm not bringing any announcer curse or a jinx here. But yeah, that's the only obstacle I think Kraus could potentially have is if something happens to one of them. I'm interested to see also if Jack Painter, he's got a little bit of a gap on the 11th place car. Can he kind of maybe try overdriving a corner and see how close he can get to Vargas? Maybe try to scare him on that final lap. That's our last battle to decide, as long as Kraus is able to make it through, as he's on his way to the white flag.
Philip Kraus, coming out of Sunset, will fly down the front straightaway for one more time as he'll take the white flag. Yeah, I think it's a little too late for Josh Chin. Basically, just don't mess anything up and let Nate Stewart get around you. But Philip Kraus, he pretty much got the lead. Hasn't led every single lap, but led a good handful of them. And was absolutely able to run away with the lead. Again, especially after that pit cycle. He's going to come through Sebring one last time. Been absolutely dominant for that 19 machine ever since getting that lead.
Painter's there. He's closed the gap. They're tight over here as they come on to, I believe it's going to be... I already changed my, I lost the map, but I think they're coming around to turn 16 here, coming on this long straightaway to turn 17. Painter's going to have a chance at him, whether it's this lap or the next one. We'll keep you updated on when Kraus crosses the line, but they're coming to turn 17, and Painter has been flying.
Yeah, going to look to the right through turn 17 here. Painter's been able to really make that car turn through this corner, I think, better than Vargas. So I think if he has an opportunity to get to his inside, he's going to have a chance. we'll have to check back what happens with that battle as Kraus tries to bring it home.
Kraus navigating these fast last few turns. I mean, we know he's going to win. I would love to see that battle between Vargas and Painter. There it is. Even though they do have plenty of time between now, as Painter locks it up a little bit, trying to get all over the back bumper of Ryan Vargas. And as our leader, Philip Kraus, will actually come down the back straightaway now, coming down into the sunset turn. So we'll catch him coming across the start-finish line for the checkered flag, and then we'll hop back quickly to that Painter-Vargas matchup that we've been watching these past closing laps. But coming through sunset one last time, he got the lead early on in the race, has ran away with it this entire time, comes out of through sunset. Philip Kraus in that 19 machine will come across the start-finish line and win the Grand Prix of Sebring. So amazing win there from the 19 of Kraus, but we'll get back to the action between Ryan Vargas and also Jack Painter, as Painter, we're so slightly, not even half a car length between him and the 26 machine. He's trying to get these passes done with, you know, couple turns left.
Yeah, he's been working him over really hard. He's really good under braking. Vargas is struggling, but Vargas gets off the corner really well, and I think that's why Painter's able to get to him under braking. Vargas is intentionally going in a little bit softer. You don't really see it too much there, but you can see he gets a good run off compared to Painter as they try to work themselves around here through turn 15. Come onto this long straightaway one more time.
They're gonna come onto the straightaway as a terrible exit there from Painter, and Vargas is gonna get a huge gap onto him now. Wow, unfortunate there for Jack Painter, fighting this entire time with Ryan Vargas, but never know as they come through sunset one last time. As Painter is going to absolutely send it in there, use every bit of grip of tire that he has left, but to no avail. Very unfortunate from Jack Painter. Had a terrible run off of turn 16 coming onto the sunset straight, and Ryan Vargas is going to be able to hang on to that 9th spot. Well fought between those two drivers in the 26 and the 97, but unfortunately Jack Painter not able to get that one done. But then we'll hop back here to our race winner, the 19. Philip Kraus gets a little help getting turned around there. I believe the 67 of Nate Stewart. So he's going to be drifting around the corners, and that's your race winner right there, the number 19 of Philip Kraus. Again, absolutely dominant, as Josh Chin really didn't have anything for him after that pit stop. Kraus is going to win here at the Grand Prix of Sebring.
Kraus over here trying to do his best SVG impression, drift through all these corners, and it looks like it's a little bit more difficult. They were drifting a little bit better when they were just driving them. Chin also kind of doing it up in front of them, but really good run by Kraus to really put it to Josh Chin. I honestly had Josh Chin on my bingo board as the winner. I didn't see anybody else even taking a shot at it, but Kraus came out here and just absolutely muscles his way around everybody to make sure that he gets the shutout victory. Nate Stewart home 3rd, another really good run, and Ryan Andrew, but Cole Freilich in 5th, something we didn't really talk about. Obviously, him and Kendall going for the championship. Kendall finishes 6th, so not a lot of gain from Freilich, but you got to be impressed with a top 5 finish for a guy that said that he had no hope coming in here and didn't know how this would go. Come home 5th has got to be a really good kind of just solid night for him to be like, all right, now I can go to these other races, focus forward, hope that Kendall runs into some sort of issue somewhere and open his championship back up.
Ellie, you talked about the SVG impression by our winner, Kraus. Then they even, him and Chin were maybe doing a Ricky Craven Kurt Busch impression down the last backstretch there. You get plenty of time to celebrate on a victory lap when you win here at Sebring with this giant road course. So yeah, congrats to Kraus and yeah, him and Chin have kind of the backwards paint schemes tonight. So it was cool to see them 1-2 finish this one off.
Yeah, great to see. And we'll just run through our top 5 real quick, and while we wait for some of our drivers to come in for interviews. So Philip Kraus, your winner, and then Josh Chin, Nate Stewart, which we have him standing by here momentarily, Ryan Andrew, and then Cole Freilich. Yeah, and Freilich, like you mentioned, Elliot, started 7th, got up to 5th. Even Kendall Carpenter started 9th for him and got up to 6th place as well. So not going to put a huge dent into that lead if you are Cole Freilich. And I mean, after hearing, he's wasn't too confident coming into this race, glad to see he was able to get that top 5 finish. And of course, Ryan Andrew, another guy who, we weren't too sure about coming into this race. He started 8th, finished 4th, making his, I believe, his first, this is his first race of the season here in OSRL. Same with Philip Kraus, who gets the win. Josh Chin, his second one. Of course, the reigning champion finishing in second on the night after he put it on pole, which he had a terrible jump to the race. So that standing start really came back to bite him, but he's able to recover pretty well for second place. But we're going to go ahead and move into our interviews now, as we will start out with our third place finisher, and Nate Stewart. And we got Nate Stewart here with us. Nate, glad to have you. Congratulations on your third place finish. You started second, able to recover a little bit and finish third. So we want to get your thoughts a little bit on that initial start, because I do know that Josh Chin struggled with that start. I wonder if you had any similar troubles as well.
No. I was very surprised whenever I rolled by him and had the lead into one. He was all the way back in third, but the start was nice, and it was nice being able to lead a couple laps. But those two are just a lot better at road racing than I am, and they just had so much better long run pace. And I don't really drive this car that much, especially as much as they do. So I just come here for fun once in a while, like when it's a road course. Fortunately, just didn't have the long run pace, but the start was really nice, being able to lead a couple laps. And then after Philip got by me, I was like, all right, I'm just going to settle in and finish wherever I finish.
And the other thing that makes you mention is, road courses are your thing, but obviously this is your first start, I believe, here in OSRL in the season. Do you plan on making any other starts this season, or you just keep it with the road courses?
I don't know. It all depends on how the schedule lines up. We still have 2 races left to go in the NASCAR Road to World qualifying series, so definitely can't do those 2 dates. But maybe the dates outside of those I might decide to show up to. We'll just see what happens.
We'll be happy to see you back on track, whether it's on the road courses or the ovals. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank tonight for your third place finish?
Yeah. First off, thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to Oates and Co. for putting on this league. It's fun to come run every once in a while. And then for sponsors, Simbrap Market, you go to simbrapmarket.com. They're currently having a Labor Day sale that ends on September 8th for whenever you spend $20 more on paint bases. So highly recommend going and checking that out. Apex Action Photography, that's me. I do iris screenshots. And, I'm always looking for work. So... But that's kind of all I got.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Nate. Again, congratulations on your third place finish, and you have a good rest of your evening as well.
Yeah, thanks, y'all too.
So there is your third place finisher, Nate Stewart. And now we'll bring in our second place finisher in Josh Chin. And here we have it, Josh Chin. Guys up in the booth. First off, congratulations on second place. We know you had a bit of a rough start. Did not really have an ideal one there on that standing start.
Yeah, I said before the race I was probably going to Lando Norris it, and sure enough I did. And Phil didn't Oscar it, so he was able to win the race off of that.
Yeah, unfortunate to see. I mean, I saw the start and saw Philip and also Nate get around you a little bit. It had to be a little disheartening, but you're able to gather yourself up, come home in second place. So I just want to get your thoughts as you're battling with Philip Kraus that closely for that long up until that very first pit stop. We noticed too that you pitted and then he stayed out. I want to kind of get your thoughts about that one for that pit strategy.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get held up, so I decided to come in a lap early. Well, it wasn't even a lap early. It was at the halfway point. But I kind of assumed he was going to get held up more in traffic than he did. And really didn't. I don't think he lost that much time on the lap, and I had a slow out lap. But yeah, that whole first stint was just kind of saving tires behind him. We have that dichotomy of he'll burn a little bit more going faster early, and I'll be able to save more. But he did a good job saving him this time, and he just kind of controlled the race from there. And then once we got to the pit stop, that lap advantage was just massive for him.
And able to, I also want to see especially what your thoughts were when he was coming out of the pits, because you're pretty close. You got kind of close to him and be able to make up a good amount of time. And and then he just drove away from you, unfortunately. But that had to give you a little bit of hope, at least, with your pit strategy and kind of seeing him come out right as you're entering, almost about exiting the front stretch.
Yeah, it was close. Once I heard what his in lap was, I kind of figured that was it. I was really slow on the out lap. Like, I know I lost easily a second through I think sector 4. So I was just like, well, I hope I'm close enough. I don't think I'm going to be. And once I saw him on the exit and how he was able to cut across, I'm like, yeah, it's over. That's all I can do. It didn't. I missed the pit stall just by like the tiniest fraction of a bit too. I think I was maybe like half a foot back of the lollipop, and it was too far back, so that cost some time too.
And before we let you go here, is there anyone you'd like to thank for here tonight?
Big shout out to everyone at Private Label Team Hype, everyone at Power Slide, just everyone that helped support, and probably be able to do Richmond next week, and it'll be the last OSRL race I can run for a while with IndyCar Pro Series coming up.
Well, good luck with the IndyCar Pro season. Be watching out for you in that. And again, congratulations on your second place finish here at the Grand Prix of Sebring, and you have a good rest of your night.
Yep, thank you, you too.
That was our second place finisher, Josh Chin. And now the man of the hour we're going to pull in here, Philip Kraus, your winner here tonight. Philip, saw an absolute amazing race for you. That pit strategy worked out very nicely for you, and you absolutely just checked out. So just want to get your first initial thoughts about your win here tonight.
Yeah, it was a fun race between Josh and I. I got a bit lucky on the strategy because he stopped short on his box in the pit cycle, so that gave me the chance on the overcut to maintain track position. And yeah, I knew I was quicker on fresh tires. He was quicker on old tires, so just kind of grew the gap when the tires were fresh, and then managed it to the end from there.
So did you know with that pit strategy, because obviously you stayed out and Josh Chin did pit, were you going to, it was a situation you're going to do the opposite of him, or you're just staying out no matter what there?
I had no clue he was pitting. I was just staying out there no matter what, pretty much.
Actually, the other thing too, navigating that lap traffic got a little bit risky as well. And of course, the close battle you did have with Chin and also Nate Stewart early on in the race. And, you know, we saw Ruby Estes kind of get into Hunter Waters there while you're trying to lap. I wonder if, you know, that gave you a little bit of pucker factor or anything trying to get around the lap traffic.
It was definitely interesting watching them lock up every corner for sure. I didn't really know where they were going to be when I ended up catching them, but luckily when I did get there, they were a little bit more civilized, so I was able to get through that without any real complications.
And once again, you know, congratulations. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank for your win here tonight?
I was Private Label Team Hype, everyone on that team, and all our partners.
Well, we appreciate it, Philip. And again, you have a great rest of your night. And also, once again, congratulations on your win here at Sebring.
Yep, cheers.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Philip Kraus, your race winner here at Sebring. And of course, we'll look now at the race results for this race. Phil Kraus, Josh Chin, Nate Stewart, who are the ones that we all interviewed, and then Ryan Andrews, Cole Freilich, Kendall Carpenter, Jackson Sims, William Schmidt, Ryan Vargas, and Jack Painter rounding out your top 10.
Then you got John Daniels, Harry Grindell, Bryden Lindauer, all those guys battling really hard for that spot. Caden Reif, who came off on the opposite end of that in 14th. Kyle Benson, who we didn't talk about pretty much all night, but one of those guys that moved up from 22nd all the way up to 15th. Justin Knutson, who also came from 24th to 16th. All these guys that finished about 15th to 19th came out of the 21st or worst positions. So good job to them. Chris Pervilaricus in 17th, and Jeff Yinich in 18th from 26th on the board. Levi Wolf ends up 19th. Griffin Jones rounds out your top 20.
And 21st was the 52 of Nolan Sanford. A couple of our drivers back here that got some damage. I know Isaac Johnson in the 33 finishing 22nd was one. Ruby Estes comes home 23rd. Waters in 24th. Newton in 25th. Gabe Wood, who we saw go off track a couple times, able to at least survive and finish in 26th. Mo Perry, I know that he had some issues early on in the race, finished a couple laps down in 27th. Jonah Malashek and Jeremy Cook, 28th, 29th, and Gavin Fitzgerald was our final finisher and 30th.
There is your finishing places for all of our drivers. And we take a look at the schedule real quick, as the next race will be at Richmond Motor Speedway, which will be next week. So make sure everybody tunes in for that one. But with that being said, all of us here at Split Second, we want to thank you for tuning in to the OSRL Timber Schultz Grand Prix of Sebring. I'm Evan Snyder, of course, Ross Brockman, Elliot Henderson, and our pit reporter Aiden DuPont. And of course, shout out Jeff Johnson for putting on our broadcast and being an amazing producer that he is. I want to say once again, with your winner being Philip Kraus, I want to say good night here from Sebring, and we'll see y'all next week.
Learn nothing was blocking me. I was the problem, the only one stopping me. I didn't like it, I had to refocus. Now I'm devoted, I know where I'm going. Controlling emotions, I'm owning the moment. In order to get it, see, you gotta want it. Don't make a living break. Confessions over these 808s. Don't sleep on the kid, better stay away. I mean, for heaven's sake, I'ma be the best. Came from the endless, lane walk games, bitch with the chest. Beating on my chest, trying to get my rest. Watch me while I flex. Every win is a blessing, and every L is a lesson. So when I run into rejection, I know it's only reflection. I see the blessings right beside me. The chances of quitting are likely. I do it like I'm in my Nikes. Don't make excuses, they never excite me. Quitting was never an option.